Okay, so hello and welcome to the first outreach and conference planning meeting for the operator framework. I'm really excited to see so many people in here. I know that there's been a lot of folks promoting operators and teaching folks about operators, and I'm really excited to have all of us in the same room. So to start off with, everything is up for debate, like the agenda, the meeting time, all of these things should be determined by this group and not me. So I think once we get started, that should be one of the first things that we talk about is when we're going to continue to meet. I guess to get started, let's do the introductions. So I'm Austin McDonald, and I'm on the Operator SDK team. I've been there for about 2 years, and before that, I was on Pulp for about 5. And I'm particularly interested in promoting operators and building the community around operators. So I try to do a lot of community-focused work, and I look forward to working with all of you if you want to be a part of that community. Since we've got so many people, I can just call down the list. Akihiko, is that correct? Please tell me how to pronounce that.
Yeah, it's correct. People call me just Aki. It's too long for full my first name. So yeah, I'm working for OLM side. Joined like last September. So still I'm learning stuff, but I got the invitation, so I just joined this call. That's all.
Okay, cool. Alex Green.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Alexander Green. I am a senior developer working on the OLM project.
Attila?
Hi, I'm Attila. I'm a principal engineer and working on the core of the Java Operator SDK. And yeah.
Flapron?
I think that's Christoph.
Yes, that's Christoph.
Sorry, say that?
Introduction.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm half sleeping. It's like 7 p.m. on Friday evening, so I was zoning out. So yeah, I'm Chris Lapin, and I work with Attila on the Java Operator SDK.
Okay. Dang it, Zoom. They are reordering this list for some reason. Frederick?
Hi, my name is Frédéric Gillot. I'm part of the portfolio and enablement team at Red Hat. So we are helping teams creating operators. And I've been at Red Hat for over 7 years now. I was principal consultant, senior technical account manager, and moved to engineering more recently.
Okay, I think Ish.
Hey, my name is Isha. I work on the Operator SDK at Red Hat.
Jesus?
Yes, Jesus Rodriguez here. Forgot. Guess I can do this. Jesus Rodriguez here, principal software engineer. I'm also the team lead for the Operator SDK. I'm also helping with the Java community and the Ansible and Helm communities. And I've been at Red Hat 18 years and worked on a variety of different products, from systems management through brokers, service brokers in the OpenShift side, and now helping with creating operators with Operator SDK. So thank you.
Joe?
Hey, I'm Joe Lanford. I am another fellow Red Hatter. I am an OpenShift staff engineer, mainly involved in the operator framework. So I'm sure a lot of you know me from my days as the team lead of Operator SDK, and then more recently I've been working on the OLM side. But area of expertise is just everything operator framework. glad to see such nice participation at this thing.
Yeah, Cheryl?
Hi, I test OpenShift service mesh on System Z for IBM.
Very cool. Jonathan Birkin?
Hey, I'm an open source contributor for IBM. I work on Operator SDK. And previously, back in the before times, I used to give lots of talks at conferences. So maybe that will start up again sometime soon.
Okay, we're on to the Joshes. Burkus.
Hi, I'm Josh Burkus. I'm in Red Hat's open source practice office. And I dialed in because this is for planning events and outreach, which means that if funding or support is needed from Red Hat, I'm probably going to be involved. So figured I would see what you're planning. I'm also on the review committees for KubeCon. So if you have
Very
any
great to
questions
have
about
you.
that-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Josh Gavant.
Hey, yeah, I started with Red Hat a couple months ago. I'm a solutions architect. I've been working in cloud, supporting app developers for cloud for a long time before Red Hat was discovered and Microsoft for 10 years. I'm really passionate about the operator stuff. I really think it's underappreciated in the community. So I saw this meeting and I was like, let me figure out how I can help. So that's why I'm here. I also participate in CNCF's tag app delivery. Been trying to push for operator framework stuff there too.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, Josh Wood.
Hey everybody, I'm Josh Wood. I'm an OpenShift developer advocate at Red Hat. I was sort of present for the creation of the operator pattern at CoreOS and was probably its first public explicator and promoter as we started that effort there. I have continued to focus on automation with operators while at Red Hat, and I wrote the O'Reilly book with the title Kubernetes Operators.
That's a great book.
Oh, thanks. That's genuinely important, and I will as well. I'll pass that along to my co-author, the dearly and recently departed Jason Dobies.
Yeah, I still use the word shim operator to describe Ansible operators.
That's really that, especially with Delight Dobies. That's sort of his coinage or use in the book there. There's definitely stuff that's out of date in the hard technical how to use the SDK parts because of how early we were working on that. But I do think there's some like true long-term value in the book that was written with the intent of it being kind of timeless and outliving any particular implementation that are about what the pattern really means and what it represents about how we think about automation on these kind of systems.
Very cool.
I still mock Dobies for departing.
I certainly miss him. I don't know that I mock him, but I'd be willing to join in if we were all together. Right.
Very cool. All right, Mark.
Hey there, Mark O'Brien, Operator SDK, Red Hat OpenShift Manager. Wonderful to see such wonderful faces and looking forward to connecting everyone here in our endeavors in the upcoming year for conferences in 2022 and looking forward to the participation. So thank you all for joining.
Rashmi.
Hey everyone, I'm Rashmi Kutipati, working as a senior software engineer on the Operator SDK team with the recent focus on phase 2 plugins in KubeBuilder and also been helping run the community meetings of KubeBuilder and Controller Runtime.
Ryan King.
I'm Ryan King. I'm the Red Hat Operator SDK team. I'm a senior software engineer. Joined Red Hat about 3 months ago, so haven't been focusing on anything specific too deeply yet. And then also involved in the Istio open source community, which is how I first got into the operator stuff.
Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim Apnell. I'm a product manager. I'm from Red Hat. I'm a product manager on the Ansible team. And I've been working particularly with the Ansible Operator SDK part or the operator SDK Ansible part, however you want to phrase it. And been out there like Jonathan. Once upon a time, I used to do a lot of speaking before this pandemic, was on the road a lot, and used to talk about operators and really advocate for their use. And yeah, I feel like they're kind of an underappreciated thing that could really help. So that's why I'm here.
And last but not least, Venkat.
Everyone, I'm Venkat, former intern on the Operator SDK team, now a full-time engineer on the Operator SDK team. Happy to be here.
Okay, very good. Did I miss anyone? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So then let's go on to our first agenda item. How often and when should this group meet? I'm not expecting to solve this question today, but I figured I'd just at least open the floor up. Anyone want to start? Extra long, awkward silence. Urging you to start.
Months? I don't know. Any ideas?
It kind of depends on what the goals of the group are. How frequently do we need to meet?
Okay, well, maybe that's actually a better way to start. What do we think the goals ought to be?
I think it'd be great to collaborate and produce a very compelling KubeCon Maintainers Track story. And if there are a whole host of ideas, we could expand that goal to creating additional KubeCon submissions.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that the scope will be even wider than just KubeCon. Like I know that there's a lot of people in this room that have been working on promoting operators. And I felt like we haven't necessarily been in very close communication just because there's so much going on. So I'm really excited that we can all just kind of at least see what each other are doing and promote what each other are doing in the community.
I think it also can help to be able to share content. I don't know if there's, at least on the baseline, any reason to reinvent the wheel on some of this stuff. I mean, not that all of us should be repeating everything the same. Different perspectives are always helpful, and then there's the different things we're working on and what we bring from that perspective. But I think some level of collaboration, of being able to share on that level, whether it's some demo code, just the kind of core messaging of what are operators, like some of the patterns Josh Wood was talking about that still hold true today. Like those sorts of things I think really help. And then also having a place where you can show it to someone who knows what you're trying to say and say, that's weak, or that's confusing, or yeah, that's, nailed it, too long, too short, whatever. That's my feedback. As someone who did a lot of speaking and didn't always have a lot of time to keep all these different cranking out all these different presentations, that for me would be really helpful and valuable. And I'm guessing others too.
Yeah, that would be great. Even if it's KubeCon first, like a battery of content and materials that we can, maybe tweak a little and then, learn from and use, that would be amazing.
I've put an action item at the bottom that we need a shared place to put slide decks, resources, etc.
One thing that I often wanted to hear and see is, I know that some folks often go and do talks to like their local JUG, local Linux user groups and things, that often, to me, the way I see those talks are, it's kind of a good way to prepare for the big KubeCon things, because you can kind of work out some of the kinks, you can do other little things in a much more intimate environment. So sometimes I'd like to know, hey, is there a JUG that we, like if you had say a Java user group in your area and heard that they wanted to talk about operators and you brought it here, we have folks who have done some of that. And it's like, oh, hey, I'd like to join. I can probably give this talk there and help. So just knowing when those events are is nice. I mean, if it's a goal or not, but it's something that one of the reasons I came.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. My Zoom is glitching out, but I think that's okay as long as you can still hear me.
Yeah, so one thing that I feel like at least we've talked about, like within the developer teams of SDK and OLM and the operator framework, is that we're not always like super organized or ready to go with, producing presentations that, the developers would like to talk about at the conferences on the maintainers track. So I feel like part of this for me is just like getting a group, and I think it's important to have more than just the developer group around, so that we can kind of throw ideas off each other and come up with like a list of topics that we think would be good to present, talk about what's coming, what are the future features that we think are exciting, that we think people want to know about, and try to then build presentations off of those ideas. And the hard part is like, we don't want to waste a bunch of people's time talking about ideas that aren't fleshed out. So we have to figure out like, what's the right approach to like getting people together synchronously versus working on these things asynchronously. So I think in my mind, though, the biggest point of all of this kind of collaboration is just to make sure that as an operator framework, we're more prepared for submitting our submissions to the conferences that we want to talk to on time and with high quality.
I just have a question though, with respect to the community's awareness regarding operators. I mean, what would be the level of information that would be required to present? Because basically, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, even though I'm an expert, but it seems to me that, well, then again, I say that, but I just presented the Java operator SDK like 2 days ago. And I was actually surprised that people didn't know much about operators or even Kubernetes. But I would just, I mean, then again, that was a Java user group. So that wasn't like your typical Kubernetes head conference. So I would assume that for KubeCon attendees, the operator topic is already quite familiar. At least that's my perspective as an outsider.
Even within KubeCon, it depends on who you're trying to attract to your talk, though. Like, if you're expecting to attract people who work on Kubernetes, like Kubernetes admins and stuff to your talk, yeah, they're going to know what operators are. They might not be able to write one, but they have an essential idea. They know they depend on CRDs. They have a general idea. On the other hand, a fair number of application developers show up for KubeCon, as well as a fair number of managerial types. And if that's your target audience, those people have heard of operators. They know it's something they need to care about, but they don't actually know what they are. So you really need to look at what your focus is, right? Because, like, for example, if I was explaining how a new feature in Kubernetes 1.24 was going to enhance the operator experience, then I would go in there assuming that the audience already had a basic idea of the mechanics of operators. But if I was going to say, hey, here's how you can write an operator from scratch in JavaScript without needing to know any Go, then I would assume my audience didn't know anything about operators except the name.
Berkus, I would kind of add to that or augment it with the idea of, just in really direct terms, inside of my team, which is about evangelizing OpenShift, essentially, I'm continually amazed by the audiences we turn out, the enthusiastic and sizable audiences we turn out for things that among our peer group, we would probably all say, well, these are really familiar. How could we possibly still be talking about it? Like, we turn out a lot of people for how to build a container and what is it. And with Berkus's note of adjusting to the audience target, I think also adjusting to your own level of understanding and what special insight at that level of understanding you might have for that audience target. You can review what may seem like simple basic concepts and make a lot of traction out of that, right? So I don't think that, I mean, I kind of remember the whole outset of this meeting, and one of the goals here is, have we proselytized this enough, and do people really know what it is? And I don't think that we have. And I think there's a lot of room for both the basic philosophical idea of here's what they are and why, and then like the direct example Berkus used of, hey, here's how you build one in this. Here's how you could break one down and build it with a bash script as the active component so that you see step by step what's happening before you approach doing real automation loops with it. I gave a really successful talk basically just relating it to the idea of control loops from hard mechanical engineering. And I thought I thought it was interesting. The audience seemed to agree. And I think it was useful because it gives you a scope of this pattern kind of exists in the world. So.
Yeah, I mean, in my last talk, I didn't plan on spending that much time on that, but I ended up spending a lot of time explaining the Kubernetes philosophy of desired state versus actual state, and what is the control loop and what operators are for, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't too sure what, I mean, basically the problem is scoping the audience, right? I mean, sometimes I guess it's a matter of targeting the title and the abstract so that you reach, I mean, or you drive the proper audience to your talk with the appropriate knowledge level, so that you don't end up with a mixed audience where some people are like super knowledgeable about the topic and are interested in one part of the talk, and other folks have basically have no idea what you're talking about, and we're expecting a kind of a one-on-one talk. So it's yeah, I guess it boils down to abstract and title crafting, I guess.
I'm really excited to see so many of us here. Like, I know that there's been so many like operator talks that I've not even known were happening. And I'm hoping that by all of us getting together, we can cover that whole area between like, what is an operator to like, okay, so how do you do a level 5 operator, or like something I want to cover from beginning to advanced. And I want us all to know about them so that we can point people to those resources.
There's a message that we want to get across to like architects and IT leaders around the pattern and broad adoption of that. And then, I mean, I've seen with developers that actually implementing is a whole huge topic. So yeah, both of them. I mean, it doesn't only have to be presentations, like blog posts and stuff too, like splitting those personas. Pretty good perception.
So I saw a little bit in the chat, but like I said, my computer is sort of frozen at the moment. So it does sound like maybe this time on Fridays is looking good to everybody.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, like for me, it's 7:30 p.m. So 7:30 p.m. on Friday night is a little rough for a meeting, or at least one that's, I mean, if it's once in a while, why not? But a regular meeting probably won't be showing up all that often, to be honest.
Yeah, except for me here, if we could have the meeting a couple of hours earlier, it would be easier.
Would the West Coast US people be okay with a bit earlier?
I mean, 1 hour earlier would be fine. 2 hours earlier, starting to get a little bit early.
The most common time I've found for doing community meetings that span Pacific and European time was 11 Eastern. or noon Eastern. Anything above
how's
that is too
this?
early. Anything after that is too late. So
Let's, I think maybe the best way to go forward is just to propose both of those times to the mailing list and just get a feel for which one would be better.
that's fair.
Cool. In that case, I don't want to spend too much more time on that. We handle that asynchronously.
I could say that the mailing list would work, but the other thing is you probably have a quorum of the people that would attend this meeting here right now. I mean, we could decide on those two proposed times. If that's what you're suggesting via the mailing list, then that's fine.
Let's take a quick poll here. Jesus, can you run this? Because I can't see who's raising their hand, but raise your hand if you'd prefer noon Eastern time.
How do you raise your hand in Zoom?
Oh,
besides physically turning your camera on.
Crap.
Oh, Tony did it. How did you do it?
Reactions.
Yeah, click the
Oh, reactions.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So far, we've got. Has everyone figured out how to do the raise the hand using the reactions at the bottom? And if so, this is for voting for noon. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Actually, I don't know. I would like to recuse my vote if possible.
I took it out. It put a little X on yours. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 8 for noon and 2 minuses for noon. And then everyone else did not participate. I guess they're ambivalent.
All right, let's try 1.
1 p.m. Eastern?
Yes.
Okay, lower your hands and then re-raise them if you prefer 1 p.m. Eastern.
Do you lower your hand actually?
Yeah, you have to. How do you do that? You click on the reactions again and it'll show up at the bottom. It says lower hand.
Yeah. It wasn't showing up for some reason before.
You'd think one of these video chats would have like a poll function built in at this point.
Well, there's a reaction, yes or no, but I don't know if that counts as a vote or not.
It's fine. Anything that goes up that's not red. I think I got 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 for 1 p.m. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for 1 p.m. and 1 definite no for 1 p.m.
Okay.
Everyone else is ambivalent. Is
Well,
11 a.m. an option?
Eleven Eastern.
11 Eastern. I mean, we could. I didn't know.
For Europe.
Austin, did you want to do a vote on that one or no?
Yeah, sure. And if we do pick that one, we'll send Jonathan a coffee basket.
Okay, if you would like 11 a.m. Eastern, which is 8 a.m. Pacific, I think that is 5 p.m.
That's correct. Yeah, 5
European?
p.m.
Continental
in Paris. Berlin.
Okay, so then if you would like that, please raise your hand or lower your hand if you don't want that. Or choose X if you don't want that. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for 11 a.m. 1, 2, 3 no's for 11 a.m.
Yeah, I got a conflict, so unfortunately, but
That's fair.
but I can just watch the recording if I have to.
So that's what we've got. I'm not sure if that completely decides it.
No, but that's a great starting point for the mailing list discussion.
Okay.
So that's awesome. So I think that takes us to the next section of the meeting, which is conference planning, unless somebody has something about time that they'd like to talk about.
How did we decide frequency?
Oh, right.
I think that was based on goals.
Right. So when we proposed this at the operator face-to-face recently, the initial idea was about once a month. I'd propose that we stick to that for now, and if we decide that it needs to be more or less frequent, we could adjust that later.
One thing I would suggest, let me lower my hand to it. What if we had once a month, and then as conferences get closer, we can increase the frequency?
That's a good idea.
So in case there's like, you know, maybe if KubeCon submission is in a month, maybe we have at least 2 so that we can make sure that we've got our ducks in a row and have folks be able to get together and actually talk before then. But I mean, that's just a suggestion, but we can talk about that as we get closer to them.
Do we have a mechanism for asynchronous chat?
We have lots of them.
Exactly.
So I think for operator SDK specific stuff, chunks get down. For operator SDK specific stuff, we can we have like Slack and things like that. For OLM, there's Slack, but for the whole channel in and out of Red Hat, we've got some Slack channels in the Kubernetes Slack. But I think for this group, we're probably going to have the most luck with a mailing. But that's just my thought. Does anyone else have any ideas?
Mailing list is definitely asynchronous enough and allows all bound time zones to participate. And then we can go from there if we needed something a little more, gosh, the word is escaping me, a little more frequent.
Synchronous?
Synchronous. Thank you. Gosh. Now, to be clear, which mailing list are we talking about? Is it the operator framework right now?
The whole operator framework, Google Group.
Is that in the mailing list? I mean, mailing list. Gosh, is that on the agenda doc? We might want to add a link there in case folks are not already on that.
It is not. Chunks get down.
I can find it and add it if you want. So
I can, yeah, that'd be great. And I can take care of anything after the meeting once I reboot. So I think that does now take us into the conference planning section. So the big one obviously is KubeCon EU. So I thought maybe we could start with just listing out everyone who has tentative plans. Like, you don't have to be accepted yet. Just if you are thinking of presenting at KubeCon, let's mention that now and see what we got.
I guess I'll go first. I have 2 tentative talks. One is basically how to write your first operator workshop with myself and a bunch of the folks from Operator SDK. Basically just a workshop that intends to actually step people through the process of writing their first operator. So they'll have a working one that they wrote themselves at the end of it. Second, I'm also the one running the coordination on the maintainer track session for Operator Framework. So kind of handling things on the Operator SDK end, looking for input from the OLM folks. And that's it for me.
I know this is really bad, but I submitted something, but I can't remember what it was, so I'm looking for it.
You submitted something about Java operators.
Well, people are looking around. I pasted in the chat a help form for CFPs. We have a team of Red Hatters who have a lot of experience either as conference reviewers or as presenters or both, who are available to help anybody working on operator framework improve their CFP submission from perspective of acceptance and audience. So feel free to submit a draft there if you want help.
Is that available to Red Hatters or everyone?
Everyone on operator framework. So it's both to help Red Hatters and it's also to help anybody who works on a project that Red Hat supports, which operators most definitely are.
Excellent.
Yep.
I will throw out there. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna submit this, but we've been talking in app delivery about, we have a sample app that demonstrates many different delivery mechanisms for the same app, and one of them is Operator. I actually wrote the sample for it that deploys it with OLM, so I may go with that. That would be Helm. That would be, so if there's, and another way I might broaden it would be just in general how to use operators to deploy apps with Helm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a huge area for us.
Okay, that's good to know. So yeah, I might pursue that more.
You should be able to construct a Helm-based operator out of an existing chart pretty quick.
Oh yeah, I can. I got a PR waiting for that actually that has that working. So.
And Josh, there's also, I'm not sure if you're aware, there's also a lot of the hybrid stuff that the SDK team has been working on, where you can basically hand a Helm chart to a Go operator, have a bunch of reconciler code that does the normal Helm operator reconciliation, but then write your own Go code.
I've seen that you guys have been working on that. Okay, yeah, I got to look into that.
So yeah, just take a look and see if there's anything that seems reasonable to include.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can do the same with Ansible because we have modules for Helm chart support. So using that with the packaging, you can consume a Helm chart for doing the level 1, level 2 stuff, and then you can write Ansible automation for the 3 through 5 on top of your Helm chart, or what your Helm chart is doing also. So yeah, there's a lot of options out there now for moving Helm to operator, which would, I think, be an interesting topic of, because I don't know. I don't know if this is very scientific, but I feel like a lot of people are stuck on Helm.
I think that's a pretty normal view from the operator land.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone else planning to go to KubeCon?
Planning on going, debating if I will submit anything, not like there's much of a chance of it getting accepted. I mean, what's the acceptance rate? 1 out of 10?
Well, at this point, the only things that are open are the colos. The main conference CFP is already closed.
Okay.
And has been for some time. So if you actually look on that link to the help form, that has the current list of colos, although more will probably be added, and their due dates.
All right, I see it.
So, and then it's a question of whether or not the colo has a topic that's appropriate for an operator talk. I mean,
so
honestly,
there is
most of them
actually
do,
one.
depending on what the operator is, yeah.
So Diane is not here today. She's on PTO, but Diane mentioned to me that OpenShift Commons has, I think it's a colo, and that we're invited to go there. I think they said that they'll have room for about 150 people in that room.
Yeah.
Thanks, Christoph. He found my talk. Writing Kubernetes operators in Java with Quarkus, with Christoph as the co-author. So
cool. So let's plan on supporting each other for these talks and working together, and like as we're fleshing them out, making sure that we're working together and not against each other, etc. Let's see, we've got about 15 more minutes, so I think we can combine new outreach opportunities with open floor. Does anyone have any other conferences? Sorry to move on already. Are there other conferences we'd like to discuss?
Well, I have one I scheduled to talk next week actually. Same talk. I mean, well, more or less the same talk as the one I would presented 2 days ago. It's my local conference. It's called Snow Camp. It's developer oriented, not specifically Kubernetes, but I assume that that'll be a topic of import.
If you'd like to invite people to that via the mailing list, feel free. Or if you'd prefer, you can just send me the information and I can send something out to the list. But I'm hoping that every time anyone is presenting anything on the operator framework, it's going to that mailing list so that everyone knows about it.
Okay, yeah. I'm still not sure what mailing is, but yeah, I'll look it up on the agenda document.
Cool. And if it's if that's not clear, feel free to ping me as MacDo, and I can make sure that everyone's subscribed. But it's operator framework at Google Groups. But
Yeah,
there's a link in our thing.
It's in the chat and in the agenda at the top.
Okay, thanks.
The CFP for CDCon, Continuous Delivery Conference, is currently open. And if anybody has an operator talk related to CI/CD, particularly related to like Tecton, Shipwright, other technologies that the CD Foundation covers, that would be a good conference to submit to.
Do you have the dates for the conference and the deadline for the CFP?
Yeah. The conference is June 7th to 8th, theoretically in Austin, Texas. And the deadline for the CFP is February 18th.
Awesome.
So one topic that might be interesting there, I don't know how much this makes use of like Tecton or some of the or Shipwright or anything, but an interesting thing that OLM and really SDK have been involved in is the new file-based catalog format. And a lot of what we're trying to talk about is, how can we make it easier for operator authors to produce a new version of their operator and have that show up in a cluster and auto install. There's many steps from source code change in an operator to shows up on a customer cluster, but lots of that can be automated. And the beauty of this topic could be that it spans both operator SDK and OLM and like builds this end-to-end story. And it's basically all about continuous delivery, right? So I think that would be a pretty interesting topic.
Yeah, and I added that to the agenda. I just kind of called it out. We haven't really finalized on it, but I suspect that's by far the front runner right now. And it's a super interesting topic, and Joe's been in that space a ton. So it would be really great to get in front of everybody.
Be kind of it makes me think of Helm's support for OCI, and I assume you guys are pushing OCI images. Maybe that fits together somehow, the Helm OCI support and the new framework, new format. Not sure.
There are bits of OLM where we're talking about supporting basically like operators packaged as Helm OCI images as a new bundle type, but that's not, there's nothing real about that yet. So it's just kind of early stages.
I think our talks should also span the gamut between like the fresh new features that don't even exist yet, like what's coming, and like going all the way to like basic features that everyone should know about already. But I think that, if people are already into operators and they're looking for what's next, that kind of thing would make a great presentation, even if it's not ready.
With that one in particular, I would be hesitant only because it's like a 5-word title of a JIRA issue that we have. Like that's all there is to it so far. There's probably more fleshed out things that don't exist yet that would be better.
All right, so if we've got no more conferences, I'm going to give one more awkward pause in case you do.
I wanted to chat. I just saw in the chat. I guess Alexander Green from OLM said that they're submitting for a maintainer track session separately. Okay, just as long as you're on top of that, I guess we'll submit separately as well. So there'll be one for OLM and one for Operator SDK.
Oh, that's interesting. I thought that we were required to submit together since we're the maintainer track is offered to the operator framework, not us specifically, or SDK or OLM specifically.
I mean, back when I was on SIG Service Catalog, which was a Kubernetes SIG, we had not just one, but two just for the SIG. We had an intro session and a deep dive session.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and if
This
is going to work, that's fine.
That's changed with KubeCon, mainly because the CNCF has a lot more projects now. So at this point, unless you get a special exception, you only get one maintainer session. There's not two per project.
Oh.
Okay, well, we can definitely, but how about we connect? I know Frederick has expressed interest in being in that group, but if we're only allowed one between the two of us, we can definitely hash that out and make sure that we put forth a single proposal.
Okay, I mean, I started a thread about it on the mailing list, so that would probably be the best place to talk about this.
Yeah, let's do it there.
Okay, cool.
I think I responded to you at one point on that, and that's why we had this meeting today on Friday, so we can discuss there. Sorry, I wasn't aware that we had only one between the two of us because we've committed for like the last 3 maintainer tracks or so, and I just assumed you guys were doing the same.
I think the last one we didn't do, and the one before that we did together.
Yeah,
Got it.
Maybe.
But that's another reason for this meeting.
Yeah, it's so clear, isn't it?
Yeah, no, this was great.
Hey, Austin, I had a question also from and I know this might be a little Red Hat internal, but like, is there product training or workshops that we can leverage for some of this?
That is a great question, and I don't know the answer to it. But I assume yes, actually.
I think there is. I've talked to Matt Dorn and maybe like Tony Campbell. I don't know if those names are familiar, but I feel like I've heard of there being workshops that they go on road shows and present operator framework and operators and those sorts of things. They've done KubeCon stuff as well. So if that makes sense as something to include in this group, then that's probably a good idea, or at least get content from.
Yeah, at least gather the materials.
Yeah, I think having just a list of upcoming events and past resources is probably the biggest benefit we're going to get from this meeting.
Does somebody want to take a follow-up to follow up with them, Austin? I mean, I will, but if you want to, Austin.
Yeah, sure. If someone could add an action item for me since I can't type.
I can add it.
Okay, so we only have 5 more minutes, and I wanted to leave some time for an open floor to bring up whatever you'd like, and I'll suggest that we include new outreach opportunities. So if you've got some little conference or a big conference or a YouTube video you want, now's the time to bring up anything. Okay, I'll start one. Something I've been really wanting is an operator blog area, maybe on the operator framework website, where we can be posting blog posts for operators that's not just restricted to like cloud.redhat.com or Medium or wherever they're going now. Like it would be really awesome to have one spot that people could kind of subscribe to.
You can also cross post usually, so it's not like it's either or. So you can post to some general website and also have your posts on the operator framework site.
Are you suggesting that you could cross post from like cloud.openshift, or you're saying that if it was on the operator framework site, then you could still cross post that to others? Or
Yes,
both?
yes, yeah. So I did that in the past with developer.redhat.com, and it was automated. The post that you were publishing at developer.redhat.com gets automatically replicated in other more generic for developer websites. I don't remember which one it was. It wasn't Medium, but I don't remember which one.
I don't even really care if we're posting the content itself, as long as we've got a collection of links.
Yeah.
Okay, any other items? Okay, well, that was a double awkward pause, so I assume that there's no more things to talk about. So I appreciate everyone's time today, and I think this is a really successful meeting. I'm glad that everyone's getting on board. So I will send out an email to the mailing list to discuss when we will meet next, but I'm guessing it'll be late February or early March. And I will see you all on the mailing list.
Thanks for setting this up, Austin.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, folks. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Oh, hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yo,
Are you ready?
4?
I need you to come over and help me with this. I
Yeah.
might be fucked.
We're gonna take care of it.
You know, I might be really I'm trying to keep my calm. I just got off the phone. I have to explain to you what's gonna happen.
Yep.
Possibilities of me being fucked.
Well, you were on the phone with support. So their support. I think that they'll have a log of that.
Are you available now? Because I have to send it before 5. Before